Recently on my channel, I've been having the discussion about black men selling for less. And typically we talk about black men selling for less. We talk about, dating inside of our community with African-American women. And that is a discussion that we generally have in the black community. But I want to talk about this from a more of a macro level. Are black men selling for less in every aspect of their life? What about their risk aversion? Are they becoming entrepreneurs? Are they going to professional school or grad school? Why isn't black male talent developing? And I made a video called "The Game Proves That Black Men Are Selling for Less, and Here's Why." And that video was more or less about the game believing that the best thing he could become at a point in his life was a worker at Home Depot. Now, let me just say this. I don't have any problems with brothers who work at Home Depot or who have normal jobs. But I do believe that there are certain black men out there who have much more of an ability to do something to be successful than Home Depot. And that's what happened with the game. He wanted to do Home Depot, and then he went into hip hop. The rest is history. He's successful. He's one of the best MCs of his generation. But I kind of wanted to know, how black men would feel about this. And I got a comment from this particular brother who broke this down. And I want you guys to read it with me. It came from brother Rob Joachim, and he says this: "I believe the reason why black men settle for less is because we don't have no room for failure. Another word is we don't have a support system to help us get back on our feet in case we fail." Now I want to kind of talk about this, right? And I know a lot of us as black men, many of us don't come from an environment where there are two parents. Many of us coming up in environments where there's one parent. Sometimes you may have your dad in your life, but he already has another family, or he may not have a lot of money. And so you may have other siblings in the house that, your mom may be trying to help. Sometimes other brothers are women that might be your sisters. And so what happens is, as the man of the house, you become somewhat of a son husband or somewhat of a leader at an early age. And what you're looked at as a person that's supposed to, help your mother, help the rest of the family and things like that. So in other words, you kind of got to sacrifice yourself to help the others come along. And that's just not African-American men. I see this happening a lot with, brothers from the Haitian community, brothers from the African community, Nigerian brothers. I see it happening with Ghanaian brothers from the Caribbean community also as well. And a lot of times black men, when they want to go out and take a risk on something, they're afraid to do it because literally they have nowhere to go to get back on their feet. It's absolutely true. And I'll talk about my own story. Maybe you guys can relate. I was 34 years old when I started a business called PlanetOsheaMag.com. It's now a defunct site. It was a hip hop blog. It failed miserably. But I was living at home with my mom, and it was right before I went to medical school. And I don't know why I tried it at that time, but I just been laid off. I was on unemployment. I have like about $10,000 or $12,000 saved up to my name, and but I was living with no bills, no car payment at the time, and I was living with my family, so I was able to take this particular risk. Now, it failed miserably, but then again, I was able to take that risk because I was living at home with my family. Yes, at age 34. How many black men can stay at home until age 34? A lot of brothers are getting kicked out like at 18, 19, like, yo, you need to go figure it out. Some black men are going to the military, not able to get the specialized skills and stuff. And, you have to get out and work. In my case, I was able to stay home for a long time. Even after I graduated college, I stayed home. Now, to get to where I am today and having all of those skills, when I came to medical school, I had a lot of stuff, kind of in my repertoire. I had a lot of advantages, a lot of competitive advantages because I was able to develop them because I stayed at home so long. So by the time I became, 37, I was already in the top 5 or 10% of income because I already had a failed business. I learned how to run that business. I learned how to make those changes better. When I came to YouTube, I was able to do so. But what about the average black man in America? The average black man in America simply doesn't want to take the risk. Like the average black man can't go to medical school because you got to go to medical school. Let's say, for example, you don't have any money. You're going to be in residency for 3 to 4 years. Your family doesn't have any money. By the time you get done, you're like 30, 31 years old. A lot of brothers are having to work during college, trying to earn and pay for stuff during college. And nobody wants to hear, that you're a black man trying to, support yourself through engineering school. No, people want you to pay and do things. And this is why I want to call people into a situation today. This is why we need to establish networks of bringing black men together to bring resources to brothers. The resources don't always have to be money. I'm not talking about crowdfunding anything, but giving black men information to give them support into doing things for themselves. Sometimes as black men, we may not need the money. We may just need to hear the story that you made it. And I want to make that possible on my channel. I can't do interviews all the time, but I do want to talk to black men who have been successful and made it and found a way to be successful, and somehow they did it. I know there are black men that have been homeless and they become millionaires, but I want black men to understand that, you're not always alone, right? Even if it feels that way. We need to be giving our black men the confidence, those of us who have made it, that yeah, you can defer gratification for a while. Yeah, you can take that risk and you can always go back and do the Home Depot jobs. You can always go back and do the Walmart jobs. But you need to give yourself the ability to take a risk sometimes. And sometimes a lot of black men are afraid to do it because they simply don't know those success stories. Well, those people who are successful and from our community, you guys need to speak up, all right? And I'm not trying to, shame you guys or make you feel bad, but a lot of black men need to hear from you. We need to hear how you did it. We need to know that you come from the same environment as we have. You've been able to overcome these obstacles. And it might just be enough for some black men out there to say, you know what? Our brother did it and he had the talent. Why can't I? And let me also say this. I've been working with a lot of black men. Shout out to our brother SPK Speaks, who's editing this video. And we formed small economies. That helps. Sometimes you might want to start to try to do that. If you guys have a market that you can hit and the money is there, there's no reason why you can't, work together to get that, to hit a bigger market together, to keep the money coming in. This is why black men helping black men is so important. Look for ways to help bring in and develop your black male talent. Every other group does this, okay? Now, it may take some time to do it. You may not have trust with certain guys, and I get it, but that's what's going to help your black men get into different markets. And I'm telling you this because for those of you who like black women, hey, this is what, a lot of you brothers, this is what you need. If you have black men working together and black men helping each other, it's much easier for you to help your women that you're dating or, help your community, help impact where you're from. All of these things are so important because we have so many black men that are afraid to take a risk because they don't want to be broke. They don't want to be homeless. They feel like they're coming from a line of poverty, so they keep that job. They stay working at that particular factory because they feel like if they don't have that, they don't have any help. But we just need more successful black men to tell their story. And I hope that happens. And I hope that gets a lot of brothers, willing to take a risk on themselves and on their talent. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. Another episode of this Celebrity Junk, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Peace out.